Hi guys. Of course she'd start barking. Hi guys. Another night in the garage. Alrighty. I hear the culprit. Hi Mama. I seen Bonnie came in for a second. How you doing, girl? Yeah. Alrighty. So there's a dolly. I brought it in, tipped it up so that it wasn't out in the weather getting all warped. It has all sorts of extra holes because when I first built that, it was basically helped me get the body off the car by myself in my little narrow tent. And then once the car was separated, I rebuilt it so that I could work on the car and wheel it around. So yeah, at some point I'm going to paint it. That way if I have to leave it outside, I can leave it outside. But for now, she's just standing up in the garage. And there is the support system I built for the Super Beetle, because they have struts. But that neck down there, I think I grabbed just some 18 gauge and boxed it in, and it's not strong enough. So I have some thin plate steel. I'm going to cut that apart, that neck, and re-weld that end so that it's stronger. That had a lot more pressure there than I thought I was going to have. So, and there's the other pan. And we'll worry about that after I get the driver's side fit. Because after the driver's side's fitting and I get that door to open shut right, I'm going to weld in that nut pocket on the passenger side. She's about 90% cleaned up. So I should be able to weld that back in. Once the nut pocket's in, I have to build a firewall just like I did the driver's side, which looks like it turned out pretty good. Well, you can kind of see it down there. Yeah. I'm going to have to watch my own video to see how I built that. I should have built, if I had known it was going to fit that good, I'd have built mirror copies. That way I had it for that side. Like I said, I have that hole about 90% cleaned up. I gotta get in there and do a little more cleanup and prep and paint. So yeah. So, tonight, I'm going to... I put that ratchet strap, pulled that in, and got that other bolt in that. And that's the aftermarket end that I'm going to be putting the same on this side. I did not replace it all the way because I wanted the factory. That was still in good shape. And it has the 2 factory holes, which tells me I got the rear of the car center decent. So I think I'm going to pull that other nut or bolt out, and I'm going to pull the bolts out of the tunnel, and I came home with some metric bolts. So up front, those are the right size bolts. I'll probably pull them out and put some anti-seize in them. I want anti-seize in all the bolts so I don't hurt any of the threads pulling them in and out. But if you remember right, there's that horn across the front, and right where that jack is sitting is a bolt going up into the frame, or the body on both sides. I can't get underneath it and look up into that nut pocket on this side, so I took a picture, and it looks like there's a little bit of metal, which doesn't make any sense because if you remember right, I had bolts in that heater tunnel holding it up that wasn't letting me drop the body all the way down. So I'm not sure if that heater tunnel needs to be trimmed up or what. But I am going to... Oh, and I brought home bolts for that back end, because those aren't the right ones. They were just stuck in there, so I had some kind of guide. So I'm going to get the right bolts on the back mounts, which are pretty easy to see. Right there. I'm going to get the right bolts in there. Pull that end pocket out and relax this side. Pull what I got out, which this is getting way too long. All but 3. I got 3 that don't want to line up, but that nut pocket doesn't want to line up. So maybe if I get the front of the chassis to the car and the nut pocket in there, I might have to do a little work on all of the tunnel bolts instead of really working 3 of them, if that makes any sense. So I'll get to work and see what I can do. Okay, I got some anti-seize in those bolts. Those are the right bolts. I've got those 2 bolts in there. I'm not going to worry about the end one right now. And I've got the right bolts in the back pocket. Back is 10 millimeter. Those are 8 millimeter bolts. And the front pocket is 8 millimeter bolts. Those are 8 mil. And apparently these front ones are 12 millimeter. So I gotta try and find some 12s. I've got everything's loose. And I've got the rear, so it's sitting right in the middle. Because this thing will move back and forth a good ½ inch. And I got those back bolts in the middle. On both sides. And that's moving back and forth real nice. And the front's moving back and forth real nice. I want to get the very front corner bolts in. Shake it around, make sure it's in the middle. And then I'm pretty sure that pocket, a little bit of that heater tunnel is sticking over the threads, where if the car's in the air you can get a thread in there, but when it's sitting down on the chassis it should have been trimmed back a little bit. So I am going to try and find some 12 millimeter bolts to make sure this front is where it's supposed to be. Look in that pocket again. If it needs to be trimmed back, that's a little fine. That's fine. And then I'm going to get that pan where it's sitting the best, and I'm going to take and mark all the holes down, and I'll take a carbide bit and I'll waller them holes out a little bit, because it looks like when everything's loose and everything jiggles around, take like a 1/4 inch off one side and it all line up. So that's my plan. Well guys, I can't find a single 12mm bolt around here to save my butt. I really would like to get that front bolted up. When I put a screwdriver up through the hole, it lines up. So it's close. And I got them rear bolts in the center. It looks like if I took the die grinder to about 3/4 of the holes along that pan, just took like a 1/4 inch off the front of it, the bolts would line up. There's a couple holes that line up perfect. So yeah, I think it was Craig that said, well, can you take the heater tunnel out and adjust it? And yes, I can, because I barely welded that in, but as close as it is, I think I'm going to just freaking widen the hole a little bit. They got pretty good plates that go on the bolts, so like I said, in the middle, there's 2 holes in there that line up absolutely in the middle of the frickin' thing, and most of them are off just a little bit. So to the forward, have to grind them out a little bit. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna, well, I have the day off tomorrow because I decided to do a 3-day weekend. So I think I'm gonna get some 12mm bolts for the front, make sure that's all centered, and then drop that pan out. Give me a little extra space. Sorry to drag this out. I just want to make sure the front's where it's supposed to be. And then I can just freaking give me a little 1/4 inch on a bunch of them and bolt freaking thing together. And it's raining out. I don't know if y'all met Bear. Hi, Bear. He's coming out to see me. Oh, come and get some food. So tonight's not a very good video. I'm gonna try and get some stuff, and hopefully tomorrow night I'll have a really good video. So, I'll talk to you guys later. I'm gonna sit and have a smoke and listen to the rain come down on the roof, because it's trying to rain out. So, talk to you guys later. Oh, just so you know, just because I gave up on the video tonight doesn't mean I'm going to stop working. I'm going to freaking figure out why that front pocket ain't fitting in there. So, yeah, I'll sit down and listen to the rain for a while, but I'll get bored. So, I'm going to try and figure out that front pocket. So, just an FYI. I can never sit for too long. Well, morning guys. I worked on her till pretty late last night. I did find out that after I reset everything that yes, I just had to take and open the hole up a little bit towards the front, which means either the pan needed to go forward or the tunnel needed to go back just a smidgen, but wasn't worth it trying to mess with anything. So I opened up the holes, got all the bolts in except for this very back one, because it was late and I needed to fire the compressor up. It needs a little bit of trimming, but I couldn't because it was too late at night. And I figured out, after struggling and struggling, that front nut pocket, they did not use metric nuts in them. It is standard. It takes a standard 3/8 normal thread bolt. So the one that came in the kit was a 10mm. So I went and got a couple bolts and this morning, and I got some 12mm bolts. Hopefully that'll get that front brace, and then this side will be locked in. So I'll work on her today, and because I took the day off. So see how far I get.